So today we'll be discussing about CSS list. So just to freshen up, the list itself is of two types. One is unordered, another one is ordered list. So unordered list, if we are writing like tea, coffee, basically we are not giving any numberings. In case of ordered list, we write it like tea, coffee. Okay, so this is my unordered list and this one is ordered list. So for unordered list we were using our tag ul. For ordered list we were using our tags ol. Okay, now so these are two different types of list which are available in HTML. Of course another one type is there, that is description list, but now we are talking about these two lists, unordered and ordered list. So the CSS list property, so these are the two elements, but we will be using CSS for these two lists so as to enhance their look and feel. Okay, so the CSS list property allows to, first is set different list item markers for unordered list, then second is set an image as the list item marker, third is set different list item markers for unordered list, and add background colors to list and the list items. Okay, so the different list item markers okay, so here first point we have written set different list item markers for unordered list. So we will be now discussing about the list item markers. So the list style type, this is a property which specifies the type of list item marker. Okay, this specifies the type of list item marker. Okay, so let's go through an example. So here I am writing circle. Okay, suppose then I am taking B, I am taking the list style type. Suppose we are taking square. Okay, similarly we can also write Okay, so these are different types. So we know that this is for unordered list, this one is also for unordered list. Okay, but these two are for ordered list, will be O, because we are using our Roman letters and the alphabets for numbering them. Okay, so we need to write this thing inside the style head, or we can also use another CSS. So if we have mentioned this inside the style and we are ending the head portion here, suppose we have started here head. Okay, now for the body I can mention unordered list. I can mention class equal to A, and then I will write it as suppose coffee, tea. Okay, so same two contents will be taking and applying class B, be writing coffee, and then tea, ending this unordered list. Now moving to the ordered list. So for ordered list we use OL. So here also we will be using OL, and the class which we mentioned was C and D. Finally ending the body tag. Okay, we'll also be ending the HTML tag, but since I have not started the HTML tag, that's why I was not writing, but it's fine. So the opening HTML tag has to be included in the from the beginning. So for this example my output will be first two were unordered list. So for unordered list I will be having coffee and tea. This one is for class A. Then again we'll be having coffee and tea for class B. Then we will again have coffee and tea for class C, and then for class B we will be having coffee and tea. Okay, so we mentioned earlier while going through HTML we have already learned how to use these types of bullet marks for numbering in ordered or unordered list using the HTML tag itself. Within the HTML tag how we can do it. Okay, so now we are using the CSS property, style type list, style type property, and we are doing it. But now we are using the internal CSS method to apply the styling, bullet styling. Okay, now coming to an image as the list item marker. So the property which is used here is list style image. This property, it specifies an image as the list item marker. For example, we can write it as unordered list suppose JPG or GIF, whichever file you want, you can mention. Okay, so when we are writing like this, then what will happen? So whichever image we have, this image will be now considered as the bullet for our coffee and tea, whatever list we will be making. For example, if we are mentioning this one inside our style tag, suppose, okay, and inside the body tag we are just writing an ordered list So here we can see we did not mention any class here, like in our previous example we mentioned class. So here we have not mentioned any class. We are simply writing only one definition of UL and we are using it. Okay, so for this one our output will be, suppose my image consists of something like this, small kite. So now that will become my bullet mark for coffee and tea. So this will be now my bullet marks. Okay. So how to position the list item markers? List style position. This specifies the position of the list item markers. That is the bullet points. Okay, so we have two types of thing. One is our list styles position outside. It means that the bullet points will be outside the list item. Okay, the start of each line of a list item will be aligned vertically. So this is by default. Okay, so suppose we are writing coffee, mentioning some definition for it. Coffee, a drink prepared from roasted coffee beans and dot dot. Okay, the second one is suppose tea. So usually what happens, this coffee and tea, so these are aligned in the same line and thus our bullet points are actually, so here what happens, you can just think of this being inside a box and thus the bullet points, they are outside the box. Okay, so this one is the concept of list style position outside. Okay, so they will be outside the list item. Similarly, we have list style position inside. It means that the bullet points will be inside the list item. As it is part of the list item, it will be part of the text and push the text at the start. Okay, so now here you can see they are now aligned this way, and it is not, this bullet here is not part of this text. Okay, but in inside case, what happens when we are writing coffee, and then I'm writing tea. Okay, so here what happens, this bullet will be included here. So when it is included, what it will be doing, it will be moving this coffee, instead of this alignment, it will be moving, it will be making it move a little bit inside. Thus in my output, what will happen, this from will not be from this place, rather it will be from this location, from roaster, and this will continue. Okay, T will be here. So now if I'm thinking of a box with the alignments and all, so now we can see the bullet is included within the list item. Here the bullet was outside the list item, but here the bullet is within the list item. Okay, so this is the meaning of outside, and this one is for inside. So how can we mention these things? We use the property list style position we'll be writing it outside. Similarly, we can write list style position and inside. Okay, so accordingly, if I am using these two for two list items, so first list item will be having an effect like this, and the second one, which will be following this class B, will be having an effect like this. So accordingly, we'll be having our outputs. Okay, now whenever list items are there, or any element you consider, they have their own default settings. Some by default settings are there which are already existing, already defined, so we can always change them. Okay, so how to remove the default settings? So though if I am writing none, so this property can be used to remove the markers or the bullets, because here we have written none. Okay, so we use this line to remove the markers or bullets. Okay, list has a default margin and padding also, that we know. To remove those margin and padding, the default setting, we can write margin is 0, padding is 0, to where we will be writing these two to an ordered list or the ordered list. For example, to remove the default settings for suppose unordered list, I can mention So many birds are there. You can hear the lot of sound of birds chirping. So this is how I can write to remove the default settings for a list. So this is how we'll be mentioning it. So now when using the shorthand property, the order of the property values are, so first is list style type. Okay, so if a list style image is specified, the value of this property will be displayed if the image for some reason cannot be displayed. Okay, then second is list style position. So this specifies whether the list item markers should appear inside or outside the content flow. Third is list style image. So it specifies an image as the list item marker. Okay, if one of the property values are missing, the default value for the missing property will be inserted. Okay, now we'll be discussing about styling list with colors. So we can style list with colors to make them look a little more interesting. Okay, anything added to our OL or UL tag affects the entire list, while properties added to the LI tag will affect the individual list item. This we need to remember. If we are adding any property here or here, that will be affecting the total entire list. But if we are adding any property here, so it will be affecting only that particular list item. Okay. For example, if we are writing, we are mentioning a suppose background, suppose it's red. Padding, suppose we are mentioning 20 pixel. Okay. Similarly, for unordered list, suppose we have mentioned some background color and padding we have mentioned 20 pixel. If we have mentioned if you're mentioning it like this, suppose you are mentioning suppose we are taking pink. Okay, and margin we are taking 5 pixel. Okay, for this code our output will be like suppose we are using the same that coffee and tea thing, so we are just mentioning, so oh, so in the HTML body we'll be mentioning only two list items, one unordered list, one ordered list. So both the list items will be containing same tea and coffee. So here we'll be concerned about the output only. Okay. Coffee, tea. So we will be having 1, 2. So we will be seeing some box like effect. Okay. So this is the outer box. The total outer box is for ordered list, and this one is for list items. Okay. So here we can see we have two order list we have mentioned. This one is for order list, this one is for order list items. So here we have mentioned the background will be red, padding is 20 pixels. So this background, these places will be of red color. Okay. Now we have mentioned for list items, we have mentioned a color that is yellow. Okay. So margin left, this margin left has been mentioned. So now for this one, this inner portion, this color will be yellow. Okay. Similarly, going for your this unordered list, so this one is a total area assigned for my unordered list. So for coffee we're having like this, and the next one is for tea, so we'll be having like this. Okay. So this color and this background color, it will be, so here my color will be pink, here also color will be pink, you will, okay, and these colors, they will be blue. This is how my output will look like. We'll be having a combination of two different colors, but this total is one list item only. Okay. So similarly we can work upon with this, with the list, and we can have different types of list. I mean, basically the types are only 3, but we can add CSS effects to them in such a manner that it will be giving very good effects. Okay, the look and feel will be very good. So when we can go through more examples. So as more examples you work upon, you can be more clearer about it. So here we discuss just a small example. So for this output, this whole thing has to be written inside the style tag, which again not to be told again and again, should be written inside the head tag. Okay. Now after that we'll be writing our body, we'll be mentioning the OL, we'll be ending the ordered list. So first one is our ordered list, we'll be first mentioning the ordered list. After that again we'll be mentioning the unordered list, and we'll be ending the unordered list. Okay, so this is, and these things, the inner lines, that is 2 list items can be filled. So 2 list items, will be writing your li, will be opening the tag li, then coffee, then close the li tag. Similarly again li, write t and close the li tag. The same 2 lines will be again written here. Okay, and then you can see this output. So these, here we discussed only some examples for working upon with list using CSS. So next we'll be learning about the CSS tables. So next video will be going for that. Thank you.